Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and in today's session we shall be doing the analysis of the English section of the All India Mega Mock. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everyone. Good evening everybody. Can you hear and see me very clearly? Hi Vedika, Akansha, Ashmita. Hi Vatanpreet, Gauri. Good evening. I'm absolutely good. Can you hear and see me very clearly, everyone? Hi, Shivi. If you could quickly confirm that. Yes, clearly visible and audible. So, mock दिया सबने scores क्या आया पहले ये बताओ मुझे before I start with the analysis. Scores बताओ और English के section में out of 50 जो कि new pattern है, out of 50 what was your score and what was your overall score as well? I'd like to know that. What was your score? Clear? Okay, yeah. Good evening, Vatanpreet. Good evening, everyone. What was your score overall and what was your score in English? Because out of 50, we had 50 questions in English, 30 in GK, 70 in reasoning, the new pattern. Out of 150, what was your score? And what was your score in English? Jaldi jaldi bata do sab, so that I know. नहीं बताना publicly तो अलग बात है. ओके, ऑल राइट, ठीक है अश्मिता. बाकी लोगों का हाय साइमा, स्कोर बताइए बच्चे, इंग्लिश में कितना आया? 31. ओके, ओके. अदर्स, हाउ डू यू आई चेक माई रिजल्ट? साइमा, ये आपके अकाउंट में विजिबल होगा. Okay. Video team, could you please post the link to the PDF as well where the results could be checked? That's very good, Vedika. That's really good. Saima, I've asked the video team to post the link. They're going to post the link of the PDF or the results. Okay. ठीक है. कार्तिक, इंग्लिश में तो स्कोर ठीक है आपका. ओवरऑल स्कोर आपका कम हो गया. लुक्स लाइक रीजनिंग में आपने goof up किया. Gauri, that's good. That's good. Probably one of the highest that I've seen अभी तक chat में. Okay. Alright guys, अच्छा अब देखो इंग्लिश का सेक्शन, हाउ डू वी रेट इट? हम उसको इजी रेट करते हैं, मॉडरेट या डिफिकल्ट रेट करते हैं? मेरे अकॉर्डिंग दिस सेक्शन वाज अ मॉडरेट वन बिकॉज वोकैबुलरी कुछ वर्ड्स न्यू थे, कुछ डिफिकल्ट थे. The passages were extremely easy, both of them. The first one was a cakewalk. You probably would have got almost all of the questions correct. The vocabulary made it a little tricky. The grammar questions were lengthy, though easy, they were lengthy, so it might have been time consuming for you. So overall, us basis pe, the entire section was a moderate one, not extremely difficult, not extremely easy as well. And that's exactly how we expect AILET to be. It will possibly be with a lot of difficult vocabulary, grammar as well, and easy reading comprehensions. That's what AILET comes up with. So we shall start off with a discussion for the each question. कार्तिक, आपका इंग्लिश में स्कोर अच्छा है बच्चे. आई थिंक आपने रीजनिंग में goof up किया था, इसीलिए आपका स्कोर ओवरऑल ड्रॉप किया है. बट कोई बात नहीं, सिंस यू सिटिंग फॉर इट, वी स्टिल नो, हम एनालिसिस करके देख सकते हैं क्या प्रॉब्लम है, हम कहां इंप्रूवमेंट कर सकते हैं. So let's start with our session. Let's see, हम सबसे पहले देखते हैं रैंकिंग्स क्या है. So congratulations Pallavi, Abhash, SD and Akash and Purva. So we've got our first 5 rankers here. English में roughly highest score मुझे 39 दिख रहा है out of 50. That means the section was not very easy, it was a moderate one. So and overall score highest is 108.5. So इस लॉजिक से आपके स्कोर्स में Vedika, your scores actually, do I see your name here? Yes, I see your name here. Congratulations Vedika. Well done, very good. साइमा, मैं आपको लिंक पोस्ट करवा दूंगी, ठीक है, वीडियो टीम से, आप वहां चेक कर लीजिएगा अपना रिजल्ट. All of the people who don't know their results yet, I will ask the video team to post the results in the end. तब तक हम एनालिसिस देखते हैं इंग्लिश के सेक्शन का. Now let's start with okay. Now let's start off with our first passage that was there. It was more like a conversation, you know, a recollecting of an instance this author went through. So he wanted to go to the US to visit, and then on the way he wanted to stop at London to visit some relatives. ठीक है? और relatives को meet करने के लिए he needed a visa. उस time पे जो entry permit चाहिए थी. So he wanted an entry permit, and for that he had to visit the British Deputy High Commission in India to get the permit. But something very strange happened there. Okay? Now, क्या strange हुआ ये मैं बाद में बताऊंगी. But ये passage आपको solve कैसे करना चाहिए था? Let's first understand that. Okay? Navya, the score is good, although it still needs improvement. Yes, still needs. Yeah, highest 42, my bad, sorry. Highest 42, yes. So all those people who are live on YouTube, you can find the link of the result. And Saima, if you are not live on YouTube, I would want you to go back on our YouTube channel to watch me live there. My video team has shared the link of the results, so you can find the results there. Everyone, you can access your results here. Okay? Quickly do that, and then we shall start with the methodology that you should have followed to solve this passage. कैसे solve करना चाहिए था जहां सारे questions correct होते हैं. Okay, I think आपने already access कर लिया है. Now, सबसे पहले ये passage आपको skim करना चाहिए था. You should have skimmed through this section, through this passage. How should you have skimmed? Okay. Now, here, this entire paragraph is an introduction to what he was going to do. So, ये passage, ये वाला page, आप thoroughly read कर सकते हो. But when you come to the next one, when he says specifically that he was asked to go somewhere, the conversation is so easy that you can just float through it. Obviously, when he was asked to go to a higher dignitary's enormous office, you know he was scared. He would have asked this question, मैंने क्या गलत किया है? What wrong did I do? What mistake did I do? This entire line could have been skipped. You should have anticipated by this line that the author is scared. Okay? Then he says, no, not at all. And then you have to read his part carefully because you have to understand what was the problem with his application, and you have to understand what was the reason for he being called into the dignitary's office. So this part was important. And then उसके बाद जो conversation हुआ, वो एक ही चीज repetitively बार-बार बोल रहा है इधर. He is repetitively saying, I don't need a permanent residency. I just need an entry permit. I don't need a passport. I only need an entry permit. So the conversation goes on like that. He says, no, we can't give you. And the writer says, no, I want. Ultimately, the conversation goes on till this part. The same conversation is repeated again and again. You could have read some words, left some words here. There was no need to read this page thoroughly. Now, I'm sure this question comes to your mind. Ma'am, if I don't read the whole passage, I don't get the idea which part was to be skimmed. Navya, that is because you don't anticipate. Anticipation क्या होता है? While we were reading this line, आपको सोचना चाहिए था कि अच्छा कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, दया. But and then obviously, guys, just a minute. Okay, you'll have to give me a second. Give me a second. My daughter barging in. She's been doing it quite often. Back to the track, everybody. I'm sorry, guys. ठीक है. So, Gauri, I'll tell you what was a good score. Let's understand this passage first. Okay. So, back to it. Now, while we were reading this paragraph, we had to anticipate. Anticipate what is going wrong and what was the mental state the author was in here. So, जब आप anticipate करते हो, आपके लिए skim करना बहुत easy हो जाता है. And there will always be a fear in your head that, ma'am, what if I skim and if I leave something very, very important? In that case, I expect you to practice a lot of skimming while you're solving passages. This what if tension in your head will wane away. What if I leave something? अरे छूट जाएगा तो वापस आके देख लेंगे उसको. Agreed? हम वापस कंफर्म कर लेंगे. हमको पता है एग्जैक्टली कहाँ क्या लिखा हुआ है. तो एंटिसिपेशन आपको करना पड़ेगा कि आगे क्या हो सकता है. Okay? You have to anticipate that. And only when you anticipate, you shall be able to skim fearlessly. आपके दिमाग में डर नहीं होगा कि भाई कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट छूट गया तो क्या होगा. कुछ नहीं होगा. आप वापस आके रिकन्फर्म कर सकते हो अपने आंसर्स को. I'll show you exactly कौन से क्वेश्चंस आप वापस आके रिकन्फर्म कर सकते थे. बट एक बार आगे देखते हैं और क्या पार्ट हम एंटिसिपेट कर सकते थे. So till this part, you should have easily skimmed. And then comes the next line that was important. I nodded somewhat dubiously at this assurance. ठीक है, डर था उसको. He was doubtful about this, but he nodded because he had no choice. He was not getting the permit. And then it exactly happened as it was anticipated. So he went on with the same idea, and that's exactly what happened in the end. So always remember a few things. One, with such a passage, the first and the last paragraphs are very important. Always pay attention to these two paragraphs, the first and the last one. First is the introduction, last usually is the summary or the conclusion. Pay attention to them. Second, since specifically 50 marks ka English hai, you will very likely get 2 reading comprehensions, and in CLAT you will get 5 or 6 or 7 sometimes as well. So aapke liye skimming becomes a very important activity. You have to be okay with that. आपको skimming आना पड़ेगा. Okay. Now before I address these questions, let me tell you what was a good score here. Because the entire English section was a moderate one, I expect you to score at least 25 plus, at least. And a good score is a 35 plus. So most of you will lie between this range, I know that. But then mediocre होने से सिलेक्शन नहीं होगा, और आप mediocre है अगर आप इन दोनों के बीच में lie करते हैं. So you need to figure out आपका vocab weak है या RC weak है या grammar weak है, and you need to work on that specific area to be able to score beyond a 35. Beyond a 35 is a very good score. So 25 plus certainly needed. Beyond a 35, a good score. Okay. Now there's a question on what skim. Skimming, my child, is reading some parts and leaving some parts, not reading each and every word or each and every line. Even if you're reading each line, don't read each word into that line. You have to anticipate कि अच्छा ये बोल रहा है, आ गया मुझे समझ में, छोड़ दो ये part, ये unnecessary है. Shivani, because if you don't skim and you read each and every word, you shall not be able to read more than 3-4 passages in CLAT, and AILET also has 2 passages roughly, should have 2 passages roughly. So you need to be able to read some parts, leave some parts, anticipate what is going to be the next line about, what is going to be the next few paragraphs about. You have to read some part and leave some part. That is skimming. All of those people who come to my classes, you know we've been practicing skimming for quite some time. Let's have a look at the first question. I nodded somewhat dubiously at the assurance. सबसे पहले तो ये बताओ, what is dubiously? What does the word mean? Anyone? What does the word dubious mean? So, if you know the word, आप easily answer निकाल सकते हो. So, dubious is with a lot of doubt in your head, okay? So, if you have doubts, because obviously he was said, you have to go ahead, you don't need a permit because you are eligible for a passport. So, he had doubts in his mind. He was dubious, he was doubtful about the assurance that the person was giving him, which can be inferred from the above mentioned line. A says the author was completely convinced. If he was doubtful, he was not completely convinced. If you know the meaning of the word, you would know the answer. The author suspected that the Deputy High Commissioner did not want him to visit London. Why would he suspect that? He was doubtful not because the Commissioner did not want him to visit. The Commissioner gave him another choice. He said, you can just go there and say, I'm a British resident, I'm eligible for a passport, just let me in. So it was not his personal agenda, Commissioner's agenda, that he wanted to avoid him to visit London. No personal agenda mentioned in the passage. B is going to be wrong. C says the author was not reassured by the Commissioner's word. So was he convinced with what the Commissioner was saying? If he was convinced, he would not have been dubious with the assurance. I'll keep C pending. Let's look at D. The author was afraid of visiting London. At the first place, if he was afraid, why would he go to apply for a permit? He would not do that. That violates the entire logic of the entire passage, goes beyond the theme of the passage. D is the worst option of all. Elimination से मेरा answer certainly C आता है. Yes, just nodding with a doubt is dubious. So, since he was doubtful, that's exactly what option C means. That is going to be our answer here. Let's have a look at question number 2. The underlined word consternation in the third paragraph nearly means all of the following except. Ab consternation ka literal matlab nahi pata. Let's go back to the line. Read the line and let's check out how to infer the contextual meaning. Because always remember the meaning has to be contextual only. So consternation, let's read the word. Here is the word. Read it. Instead, to my surprise and consternation. That means both of them will have a related meaning because and as a conjunction is used. He was surprised and consternation was there in his mind. I was signaled out and summoned to the office of the High Commissioner. Let's see what could our answer be. So consternation could be dismay, perturbation, satisfaction or disquieted. It cannot be satisfaction at all because consternation का opposite हो जाता है satisfaction because he was surprised. Surprised के साथ satisfaction does not go well. So if I have to find out which of the following cannot be a close meaning to consternation, it has to be an absolute C. Satisfaction is the opposite. He was surprised, he was doubtful, he was disturbed, he was restless. So dismay, perturbation and disquieted all are synonyms to consternation and satisfaction is the opposite to it. Exactly, Movies, bilkul. You can use your knowledge of positive and negative words as well to find out. Dis is a negative word. Dis, negative prefix hai. If you come to my regular classes, you know हमने ये word कई बार किया हुआ है. Again, ये भी एक negative word है. And just a minute, guys. Yeah. Also, perturbation is also disturbed. So the answer has to be satisfaction, which is the only positive word here. Let's have a look at the next question. So, question number 3. Here it comes. Give me a second. Aaya question 2 samajh mein sabko? The answer is C here. Here comes question number 3. It can be inferred from the author's mood. When we started reading the passage, everything was introduction. He wanted to go somewhere, London, wanted a permit. And then when he was called inside the commissioner's office, there was a mood he was in. We have to identify what was the mood that he had. So he started with normal application and then suddenly he was surprised and consternated. We read that word. So can the answer be A, transgresses from being unconcerned to being even more unconcerned? When he went to the commissioner's office, was he unconcerned? No, he was not unconcerned. Rather, he was very, very concerned. Kyunki end mein bhi, if you look at the last paragraph, here, he was dubious at the assurance. He cannot be unconcerned. If he is unconcerned, why will he be dubious? Thus, A cannot be our answer. He was not unconcerned. Beginning mein possibly he slightly was, but in the end he was certainly a lot concerned. B says, transforms from a sense of fear to one of doubt and uncertainty. We'll keep this pending. Let's see the third option. Trends from a sense of pride to a sense of disappointment. देखो, pride कहीं नहीं है. He has no pride कि मैं लंदन जा रहा हूँ मेरे relatives से मिलने के लिए. There's no pride here. So he certainly did not start with a sense of pride in the beginning. C is eliminated. D says remains determined on taking an entry permit at any cost. If he was determined, why would he agree in the end कि चलो ठीक है आप बोल रहे हो तो मैं चला जाता हूँ बिना किसी passport या entry permit के. So he was not determined to take the permit because he succumbed to the suggestion given by the commissioner to reach London without a permit. So he was not determined completely. We are left with B. But there must be a doubt in your mind. Where is the sense of fear? Where is the fear in the head? ये देखा आपने जब हम स्किम करना देख रहे थे, डिड यू आइडेंटिफाई वेयर द फियर वाज? डिड यू सी दैट? लेट मी टेक यू बैक टू द पैसेज. लेट मी सी वेयर द फियर वाज. So here, this word tells us there's fear. I told you read this line carefully and then you can skim. After this part, you can start skimming. He was scared. What mistake did I do? मुझे क्यों बुलाया जा रहा है इस enormous office में? मैंने क्या गलत किया है? मैंने क्या mistake कर दी? He was scared. And then he was surprised with it. So we can clearly see the sense of fear in his mind because he was concerned and nervous. That's the answer. The answer has to be a B here. Got this, everyone? Okay, let's move on to the next question. So question number 4. The line, but you see we can't give an entry permit to someone who is entitled to a passport. That's against our rules. इसके लिए do you think you should have referred back to the passage? Tell me. Refer back करना चाहिए था? What do you think? Should you have referred back for this question? Did you refer back for this question? What did you do? Should you have referred back or did you refer back? Refer back करा आपने? मैं आपको बताती हूँ रेफर बैक जिसने किया उसके साथ क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. लेट मी टेल यू. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू मी रेफरिंग बैक हियर वाज नॉट नेसेसरी. If you had an urge to refer back or if you at all referred back for this question, you did not make a mind map in your head. आपने स्टोरी का मैप नहीं बनाया अपने हेड में. स्टोरी कैसे आगे प्रोसीड कर रही है आपने नहीं सोचा उसके बारे में. उसने बोला मैं आपको नहीं दे सकता, ये मेरे रूल्स में नहीं है. ऑथर ने बोला मुझे चाहिए. कमिश्नर ने बोला नहीं दे सकता मैं. सिंपली लाइन बार बार रिपीट हो रही थी. यू शुड हैव मेड अ मैप इन योर हेड कि आगे कहानी कैसे प्रोसीड कर रही है. दिस वॉज अ वेरी सिंपल एक्सट्रैक्ट. यहां रेफर बैक वॉज नॉट नीडेड. लेट्स सी व्हाट द आंसर हियर इज. ओके, सो A says the author was not entitled to a passport. Okay. The author was not eligible to enter London. He of course was eligible. He was supposed to get a British passport. और कमिश्नर ने बोला जाओगे तो एंट्री मिल जाएगी. So it was not eligibility. The author was eligible for a passport and hence not an entry permit. Let's keep that pending. The author had special status as he was a celebrity. कहीं भी नहीं लिखा हुआ passage में that he was a celebrity. Out of context of the passage. Now, if there are two close options, a lot of people ask me this question, ma'am, I'm stuck with two close options. How do I eliminate? First, see the difference. Guys, just a minute. Guys, my daughter is a little too demanding today. I'm sorry. Here we go again. I'm sorry. I hope this does not happen again. आगे देखते हैं, ठीक है? So, if I'm confused between two close options, how do I eliminate the answers? First, let's see the difference between A and C. The author was not entitled to a passport. Was he not entitled to a passport? Or was he entitled to a passport? He rather was not entitled for an entry permit. He was entitled, absolutely entitled to a passport. So A becomes absolutely wrong. My answer has to be an absolute C. Okay, that's an absolute C. Correct. Next one, the last question, the tone of the passage. Now here comes the catch. ये किस किस का गलत हुआ क्वेश्चन ये बताइए मुझे. How many of you got this wrong? I'd like to know this. This was a little tricky. Out of all the 5 questions, the remaining 4 were very easy. So, how many of you got this wrong? Yeah, anybody? All of you got it correct. Yeah, अच्छा जिया you got it wrong? Okay, हाँ ठीक है, कई लोगों का गलत हुआ. चलो मैं समझाती हूँ इसका आंसर ढूंढेंगे कैसे. सबसे पहले तो all of those people who come to my paid classes, please watch my class on tone of the author again. All those people who don't come to my paid classes, there are 3 videos I've made on how to identify the tone of the author. Please watch all the 3 videos because this question will certainly come in almost every law entrance examination. Minimum once in CLAT, could be twice or thrice as well, and always be a part of AILET question paper as well. तो ये बहुत important question हो जाता है. Watch all my 3 videos that I've made on how to identify the tone of the author. अब देखो, humorous कैसे हुआ आंसर? That's the whole point. He was dubious, he was nervous. But let's first try to eliminate options here, okay? सबसे पहले, remorseful. Was he sad? Was he hurt anywhere? He was thoughtful for sure. But was he hurt and unhappy and sad? Or was he confused and not really sure of this step? He was not at all remorseful. Cynical, that is doubting everything. He was doubtful on the commissioner's suggestion. But cynical होता है पागल, crazy, जो सबको डाउट करता है. उसको ऐसा लगेगा कि कमिश्नर मुझे हार्म करना चाहता है, ये एजेंसी मुझे हार्म करना चाहती है, लंदन मुझे एंट्री नहीं देगा. ऐसा पर्सन सिनिकल होता है. Was he a cynic? He was not a cynic at all. No. Disparaging and derogatory are extremely negative tones, critical tones, जो कमी निकालते हैं. Throughout, जैसे हम किसी गवर्नमेंट के एक्शन पे कमी निकालते हैं. A lot of editorials are full of disparaging or derogatory tones. Hate speech पे हम articles लिखते हैं तो वो disparaging and derogatory होते हैं. These cannot be the answer. So exactly, Mervis, इस question के लिए elimination was the best trick. अब देखते हैं ह्यूमर कहाँ था. ह्यूमर ये था कि भाई मुझे नहीं चाहिए पासपोर्ट, तुम मुझे परमिट दे दो. हाउ डिफिकल्ट इज दैट? एंड ही सेज नहीं सर, अगर आपको पासपोर्ट मिल सकता तो हम पासपोर्ट ही देंगे, हम आपको परमिट नहीं दे सकते. इट्स एक्चुअली ह्यूमरस बिकॉज जिसको पासपोर्ट नहीं चाहिए उसको परमिट ही तो मिलेगा. व्हाई इज इट मैंडेटरी फॉर मी टू टेक अ पासपोर्ट? मुझे इंडियन पासपोर्ट चाहिए, मैं इंडियन पासपोर्ट लेके रह रहा हूं, मैं क्यों ब्रिटिश पासपोर्ट लूं? आई डोंट वांट दैट. So that was the humor in the entire story, that he did not want a passport, yet he had to he was forced to apply for a passport because he wanted a permit, and sadly permit ऐसा था कि 10 रुपए चाहिए, 10 नहीं तुम 1000 रुपए ले लो. भाई मुझे नहीं चाहिए 1000 रुपए, मुझे 10 ही चाहिए, मुझे 10 ही दो. That was the humor here. So it was a hidden humor in the entire conversation. The entire humor was hidden here. It was a light-hearted conversation, a humorous one as well. Eliminate options to find the answer here. नहीं, नेगेटिव उसका थॉट था कि क्या मुझे अलाउ करेंगे वो लंदन में. But that was a doubt only. I hope you understood how to find the correct answer here. The correct answer is an absolute D here. So the only difficult question in the entire passage was the last question. Others were a cakewalk. There was no need to refer back to the passage for any answer here. You should have scored at least a 4 here, certainly. अगर नहीं किया तो और मेहनत करो, कर सकते हो, जरूरी है करना. So buck up और passages solve करो, various sources से solve करो. You should have scored a 4, at least a 4 here. Okay? Now, before I move to the next few questions, did you like the video? Did you give me my Guru Dakshina? If you haven't done that yet, please do that. All of the people who are watching me live in the app, please rate me a 5. That's how you repay me for the Guru Dakshina that I demand. Here we go with the next question. This was not a cakewalk. Certainly not a cakewalk. Let me give you a Brahmastra for such questions. The Brahmastra for such questions is that you always mark when you solve a closed test. This is a closed test, okay? When you solve a closed test, first, Always, first step is always to skim through the passage to see what the theme of the passage is. This answer will come from the theme of the passage. So, mass appeal हो सकता है, mass exodus हो सकता है, mass incarceration हो सकता है. How do I know the answer? I know the answer only and only from the theme of the passage. So, before you mark any of the options, skim through it and see, भाई ये बात किसकी कर रहा है? What is it talking about? The passage and what is the theme of it? Thank you everyone. यस मैम, अब कोशिश करूंगी मैम. क्या स्कोर अच्छा हो सकता है अगले मॉक में? बिल्कुल हो सकता है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है. आपको सिर्फ मन लगा के प्रैक्टिस करनी है, ठीक है. सो अब आंसर देखो यहां कैसे निकालेंगे. यूनाइटेड स्टेट हैज अ मास डैश प्रॉब्लम. कोई प्रॉब्लम है, ये प्रॉब्लम किससे रिलेटेड है? क्रिमिनल लॉ से रिलेटेड है. विच वन ऑफ द वर्ड्स रिलेट्स टू क्रिमिनल लॉ? Only and only one word. Media does not, appeal does not, exodus does not. Incarceration is jail भेजना. So, या jail में बंद करना. So there is only and only one option that links to the criminal law, to the theme of the passage, and that's incarceration. So the United States has a mass incarceration problem. Now we know the problem is a lot of people are being sent into the jail. उनको jail हो रही है. ये mass problem है. Now we know the theme of the passage, everyone. Yes. So it's incarceration. It cannot be exodus or media. It's incarceration. Let's have a look at the next blank. The answer is incarceration here. Next blank. So the United States has a mass incarceration problem. People from across the political dash agree that criminal law, political what? People from political what will agree? Political parabola? After the class? No. Beta, mama's class? Oh. आज बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है बच्चे. I'm sorry. I'll figure out a solution to this. That usually does not happen. I'm sorry. Okay, Navya has a question. Ma'am, for such types of questions, it is a necessity to know the meaning of all the options provided? Yes, it is a necessity. If it's not a necessity, you need to know the connotation of them at least. Okay, so let's move on. आगे देखते हैं क्या होगा आंसर. So my answer could be two options actually. Parabola answer नहीं हो सकता. It could be parties or spectrum. So the United States has a mass incarceration problem. People from across political ideology, एक ideology नहीं होगा, many ideologies हो सकती हैं. Singular answer नहीं हो सकता. It could be parties or spectrum. How do I decide which answer to choose from? धमकी नेसेसरी हो गई थी बच्चे. 2 बार डिस्टर्ब हो गई थी, 3 बार डिस्टर्ब हो गई थी क्लास. यस, डी एंड देखो सी गलत है बच्चे. बिकॉज अनुष्का वी नीड अ प्लूरल वन. पीपल, मेनी पीपल. वो एक पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी के नहीं होंगे, अलग अलग तरह के लोग हैं. राइट? दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव टू चूज एन आंसर. नाउ पीपल फ्रॉम across the political parties or political spectrum. Do I have to belong to a political party to have a political opinion? No. Political spectrum is somebody wants a communist party, communist government, somebody wants a democratically elected one, or somebody wants a socialistic one. तो ये अलग अलग spectrum है जहां अलग अलग तरीके के thought process रखते हैं लोग. Parties को belong करना necessity नहीं होता. That's exactly why B is going to be wrong. My answer has to be a spectrum and not parties. So people from across the political spectrum agree that criminal law has been something. The answer cannot be parties, it has to be spectrum. Let's have a look at the next question. So, people from political spectrum agree that criminal law has been the dash to too many social problems. Cause हो सकता है, genesis नहीं हो सकता, solution हो सकता है, palliative हो सकता है कि नहीं. पहले मुझे बताओ palliative का meaning क्या है. स्किम नहीं किया इसीलिए गलत किया. स्किम करना बहुत जरूरी था. सो पैलिएटिव का मतलब होता है दैट मेडिकेशन देना जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ पेन को सबसाइड करती है, उस डिजीज को क्योर नहीं करती. कंटेक्चुअली अगर आप देखोगे तो पैलिएटिव हो सकता है, बट इट कैन नॉट बी पैलिएटिव टू टू मेनी. इट कैन बी अ पैलिएटिव प्रोसेस टू टू मेनी, राइट. सो दस पैलिएटिव भी एलिमिनेट हो जाता है. आई एम लेफ्ट विथ cause and solution. But if I use criminal law as a cause to too many social problem or as a solution to too many social problem, it is a solution क्योंकि मैं criminal law के through उनको incarcerate कर रही हूँ. So I'm using criminal law as a solution to straighten people up, to solve social problems. So it's a solution. People think it's a solution. सब तरीके के पॉलिटिकल लोग सोचते हैं yes Gauri, there is something to soothe the pain, but we're not referring to a pain here, so it cannot be the answer. Thus it is a solution that people think to many social problems. That the state cages too many people is incarcerating them, sending them to jails. That the state cages too many people and that the dash system from patrol to parole. ये जुडिशियल अर्ज हो सकता था. आपका आंसर मार्क करना. कितने लोगों ने जुडिशियल मार्क किया ये बताओ मुझे. How many of you marked judicial here? I know it would have been an urge in a lot of your minds to mark judicial. देखते लगता है ये तो जुडिशियल सिस्टम है. सिस्टम के साथ तो जुडिशियल looks very good. That the judicial system from patrol to parole is dashed with racism. Patrol to parole judicial system होता है क्या? Patrolling is not judicial system. It's when a case has been assigned to you. It cannot be, Nitin. See, I caught you. Judicial system is not patrolling. Paroling हो सकती है. It cannot be patrolling. But penal and punitive are two very close options. दोनों punishment होता है. But how do we decide the answer? Is it penal or is it punitive? दोनों तरीके के punishments होते हैं. But the answer here was a penal. Why not punitive? Because punitive can be a kind of fine, whereas penal is a judicial punishment given to you for a wrongdoing that you've done. जैसे jail या death penalty, that's a penal punishment that's given to you by the penal system. Okay, so it cannot be punitive. Punitive can be a fine. ये punishment है but वो एक fine के तरीके का हो सकता है. Exactly, क्योंकि incarceration की बात हो रही है, it has to be penal. It cannot be punitive. Yes, exactly, Navya. It is referring to the penal code, not the Indian penal code. No, because it's referring to the United States. It refers to the penal code where people are being incarcerated. Many people are caged. It cannot be punitive. It is penal. Correct. And the last one. So, the penal system from patrol to parole is dashed with racism. So, is it bereft, depraved, imbibed or infused? सबके meaning मैंने लिखे हैं. देखो, bereft means deprived. Is it deprived with racism? पहला तो deprived के और bereft के बाद लगता है preposition of, and यहाँ with use हो गया, तो ये automatically eliminate हो जाता है. ठीक है? Use the knowledge of grammar as well when you answer closed tests. It can be depraved. Is it wicked with racism? No, it cannot be our answer. Now I'm left with two very close options. Is it absorbing racism or is it full of racism? It is not absorbing racism. It is full of racism. Thus my answer Here has to be an absolute D here. These are the answers to the closed test. Now let's move on to the vocabulary ones. Difficult word, contumacious. If you come to my Hindu classes regularly, you would have read this word with me. If you haven't read the word or if you don't remember the meaning of the word, let's try to answer it contextually. 99% of the times, अगर आपको इस word का meaning नहीं पता है, you can understand the meaning from the context. और context से वो ही meaning निकाल सकता है जो एक reading के habit में होता है. Somebody who reads every day, who knows how a word is used and what is the context it is used in. उसका connotation क्या है, negative है या positive है, आप वैसे आंसर निकाल सकते हो. Now let's understand the sentence here. She was warned. If she was warned, she will not be warned for being docile and yielding. Docile होता है meek, जो हर चीज को मान जाए. My daughter is not docile. उसने 3 बार क्लास इंटरप्ट करी है. She possibly is rebellious and disobedient. हो सकता है ना? So she was warned that her contumacious conduct will not be tolerated. ये तो पॉजिटिव है, docile और yielding, जो अग्री करता है हर चीज से, उसको पनिशमेंट नहीं मिलेगा, उसको वार्निंग नहीं मिलेगी ए के लिए. सो ए इज आउटराइटली, यस, रीड करके ही पता लग जाता है, एग्जैक्टली कॉन्टेक्स्ट से आंसर निकल जाता है. सो ए कैन नॉट बी आवर आंसर हियर. ओके, शी कैन बी रिबेलियस एंड डिसोबीडियंट. अब देखो, अगर कंपनी बोल रही है हम टॉलरेट नहीं करेंगे, तो डिसोबीडियंस आंसर हो सकता है. स्टर्न एंड अपराइट का मतलब तो डायरेक्टली बोलना, पढ़ाई कर लो तो मार्क्स आएंगे, पढ़ाई नहीं करोगे तो मार्क्स नहीं आएंगे. आई एम अपराइट, आई एम आउटराइट, मैं साफ बोल रही हूं. तो अगर साफ बोलने के लिए बोल रही हूं मैं, आई विल नॉट बी वार्न्ड बाय द कंपनी कि हम टॉलरेट नहीं करेंगे तुम्हारा साफ बोलना, घुमा फिरा के बातें बोलो. दैट कैन नॉट बी ट्रू. ऑल्सो कैंडिड एंड ऑनेस्ट एक पॉजिटिव कॉनोटेशन के साथ आते हैं. आई एम लेफ्ट विद ओनली वन ऑप्शन एज द आंसर, दैट हैज टू बी रिबेलियस एंड डिसोबीडिएंट. जो ओबे नहीं करता, रूल्स ब्रेक करता है, क्लास टाइम पे स्टार्ट नहीं करता, क्लास टाइम पे नहीं आता, उसको वार्निंग मिलेगी कि हम टॉलरेट नहीं करेंगे ये आपका बिहेवियर, क्लास में टाइम पे आया करो. So she was rebellious and disobedient. That's what our answer here is. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Let's see the next question here. The composer is known for making songs that are maudlin and melodramatic. Maudlin का मतलब नहीं पता, कोई बात नहीं. And लिखा हुआ दूसरा वर्ड है, इसी से रिलेटेड एक दूसरा वर्ड होगा. Melodramatic क्या होता है? Which invokes a lot of feelings. सैडनेस, क्राइंग, ऐसी फीलिंग्स जो इन्वोक करती है वो मेलोड्रामेटिक होती है. हम बोलते हैं ना, इतना मेलोड्रामा मत करो, जोर जोर से रो के कि मेरे एक आंसर गलत हो गया. हाँ, सो आई हैव टू मार्क अ रिलेटेड वर्ड टू मेलोड्रामा हियर. कैन इट बी अग्रेसिव एंड आयरेट? नो, मेलोड्रामा से लिंक नहीं करता. सिनिकल एंड नेगेटिव? नो, इट डज नॉट लिंक. विटी एंड ह्यूमरस? नो, इट डज नॉट लिंक. Melodrama is sadness and crying. The only word that links to melodrama is tearful and sentimental, and that's the answer for maudlin. It has to be an absolute A. Correct. So A is our answer here. Let's have a look at the 13th question. Okay, by the way guys, I'll be discussing only 25 questions today out of 50. I'll have another session probably tomorrow or day after. No, not tomorrow, day after, on discussing the next 25 questions. So the 13th one, the book had difficult and again and है तो difficult से related word होगा. difficult से related easy तो हो नहीं सकता. eliminated, baseless हो सकता है, ठीक है, let's keep it pending. obscure and little known, let's keep it pending. prevalent and common है तो difficult नहीं होगा बच्चे, ये opposite हो गया. these two are related ones, A and D, they cannot be our answer. Now out of these two, which is closer to difficult? baseless is difficult or little known is difficult? Of course, little known is a difficult one. Our answer, we are left with only one option. Even if you don't know the meaning here, you can skim through the line and find out the contextual meaning. It has to be an obscure and a little known one. That's what your answer is going to be. Question number 14. Ronin was largely lacking the finesse to beat his opponent, but कुछ लैक कर रहा था, yet perseverance और will power के साथ उसने बीट किया. क्या लैक कर रहा था वो? What was he lacking? What is the meaning of finesse? Finesse is when you look at the options, skill और expertise में कोई difference नहीं है. जब दोनों बिल्कुल synonym है, I am absolutely left with only one answer, and that's all of the above. So finesse is subtle, expert, and a skillful manner of doing things. The answer is all of the above. See, the options are so easy. Even if you don't know the meaning of the word, you can read the options and mark the answers. So it is all of the above. Next question, question number 15. The young minister made a dash by referring to now. These are all foreign phrases. I've had some classes on foreign phrases. If you haven't attended them, just search for my name on YouTube search bar, Alpa Sharma foreign phrases. You will find my sessions. Please watch those sessions. Let me here explain the meaning of these sessions. Carte blanche हमने इतनी बार किया है हमारी क्लासेस में. Carte blanche बहुत सारी लीगल पैसेजेस में भी आता है. Carte blanche is like a blank card, blank check. जब आप पर्सन को अनडिवाइडेड अथॉरिटी देते थे वो आपके ऊपर एक्शन लेने की. That's carte blanche. So he did not make a carte blanche by referring to the president as prime minister. No, certainly not. फोपा भी हमने मल्टीपल टाइम्स हिंदू क्लासेस में डिस्कस किया है. फोपा इज अ सोशल ब्लंडर. The young minister actually made a social blunder by referring to the president as prime minister. The answer is faux pas. Nom de plume भी हमने हिंदू क्लासेस में किया है. Nom de plume is a pseudonym. जैसे कोई राइटर कोई और नाम यूज करके राइटिंग करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जॉर्ज ऑर्वेल इज अ pseudonym. It's a nom de plume. A cul-de-sac is basically a way जिसका end close होता है. So if you're entering the way, आगे कोई रास्ता नहीं है, it's closed. आप आगे से घूम के वापस आ जाओगे. That's a cul-de-sac. So obviously I'm left with only one answer, and that is faux pas. That's what our answer here is going to be. By the way, it's not pronounced as faux pas, it's faux pas. Okay, this is carte blanche, not blanche. Okay, question number 16. A person who intentionally starts a fire. I did an entire article in my Hindu classes on arsonists. And when we did the article, we saw the word. Arsonist is a person who deliberately puts a public property on fire to destroy it. Private property भी कर सकता है. हम उसको arsonist बोलते हैं. It cannot be a flamethrower. Flamethrower तो usually वो होती है जब welding के लिए मशीन यूज करते हैं जो fire उसमें से shoot होता है. So that's a flamethrower. It cannot be a fireman. Fireman का काम तो extinguish करना है. वो डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं करता है. इन्फ्लेमेटरी सब्सटेंस होता है, पर्सन नहीं होता. अ पर्सन इज एन आर्सनिस्ट. ऑल्सो इफ यू नो बेसिक फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ एटिमोलॉजी, आईएसटी इज यूज्ड फॉर अ पर्सन. क्योंकि मैं पर्सन के लिए एक वर्ड पूछ रही हूं, इट हैज टू बी एन आर्सनिस्ट ओनली. एब्सोल्यूट ए एज माय आंसर हियर. यस, pronunciations are different because Navya, these are not English words. These are usually French. That's why the pronunciation is different. Arson is fire. An arsonist is one who has put fire to something. Okay? Let's have a look at the next question. The art of writing or solving codes. This was tricky. कितने लोगों ने कोडोलॉजी मार्क किया? ये बता दो मुझे. Let's laugh over our mistakes. कितने लोगों ने कोडोलॉजी मार्क किया? हाँ? How many of you marked codology? Because कोड पूछा है तो कोडोलॉजी होगा. इतना स्टूपिड ऑप्शन नहीं हो सकता. How many of you marked codology? It's cryptography. Yeah. कोडोलॉजी होता है सेंसलेस, बिना मतलब का. That's codology. Crypto is hidden. So या क्रिप्ट होता है जो कि हिडन मीनिंग होता है. सो क्रिप्टोग्राफी इज बेसिकली राइटिंग एंड सॉल्विंग हिडन कोड्स. पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट होता है, सच बोल रहे हो झूठ बोल रहे हो. चलो दया इसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट कराते हैं. सही सीआईडी देखा तो पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट पता होगा. और कैलीग्राफी इज द आर्ट ऑफ ब्यूटीफुल हैंड राइटिंग. सो अगर आप बाय द वे इफ यू हैव सॉल्व्ड द वर्ड पावर मेड इजी, you would know the answer here. The answer is cryptography. This one was super easy for people who haven't attended my classes on figure of speech. You can watch my free videos that I've made on figure of speech. You just have to search for my name, Alpa Sharma figure of speech. You'll find multiple videos that I've made. Please watch the session. एक बात और बताओ मुझे, do you need more classes on figure of speech? I took one recently, no, not recently, a couple of months back on our app as well. Do you want more classes on figure of speech? ये बताओ मुझे. Yeah, codology is a negative word. It means senseless. Do you need more classes on figure of speech? You did a codology mistake. It is an extended metaphor. Absolutely. What are the things being compared? Your metaphor होता है comparison करना. Extended metaphor होता है over many lines compare करना. Is extended metaphor. So hope is being compared to feathers. Like it perches the soul, sings the tune without words. So hope is compared to feathers. Indirect comparison is a metaphor. Personification is treating a non-living thing or an animal like a human. No personification here. Simile is similar to metaphor, but when you draw similarity in simile, you use the words like, as, or so. We are not using these words. We have an indirect comparison. Hope is the thing with feathers. Had the sentence been hope is like the feathers, it would have been a simile. Hyperbole होता है exaggeration, बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलना. चाहिए? चलो ठीक है, done. Coming week, I'll have a class on figure of speech. The answer here is an extended metaphor. Question number 19. White-head sepulcher. आपको स्टोरी सुनाती हूँ इसके पीछे. A white-head sepulcher. Sepulcher is like a statue. Statue किस चीज से बनी है, क्या है, क्या पर्सन है, ब्लैक है, कैसी है पता नहीं. आपने उसको पेंट करके व्हाइट कर दिया. आपने क्या किया, उसकी रियल आइडेंटिटी को हाइड किया. That's a white-head sepulcher. Which one of these means the same? A wolf in a sheep's clothing. Sheep की क्लोथ पहन के wolf आ गया. Hiding the actual identity is option C. The answer is C. As thick as thieves का हिंदी idiom है, आपको बताती हूँ मैं क्या. चोर चोर मौसेरे भाई. That means आप भी थीफ हो, मैं भी थीफ हूं ना, तो हम एक दूसरे की कंप्लेन नहीं करेंगे जाके. जो थीव्स होते हैं ना, एज इन लाइक माइंडेड पीपल, वो साथ रहते हैं, एक दूसरे की हेल्प करते हैं. दैट इज एज थिक एज थीव्स. बहुत घनिष्ठ फ्रेंडशिप इज एज थिक एज थीव्स. व्हाइट लाई, सफेद झूठ. देयर इज नो झूठ हियर, नो लाई. एंड ऑड केटल फिश इज समथिंग दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली ऑड. ऑड वन आउट. जैसे पूरी शीप इज व्हाइट, उसमें एक ब्लैक शीप है. So that's an odd kettle fish. An odd one, completely an odd one, is an odd kettle fish. So the answer here is going to be an absolute C. Question number 20. I had a lot of time during the holidays, so I decided to now. We have, these are called phrasal verbs. Let's see answer कैसे होगा. Try on कितने लोगों ने मार्क किया? Try on is basically trying on a dress. Let me try it on, how it looks on me. You're not trying a dress here. You're trying baking. So you're trying your hands at baking. The correct answer is A. Take over baking. Take over होता है कोई task. Let me take over this class. Let me teach you. Taking over is कोई task अपने हाथ में लेना. That's taking over. And take two is, what does take two mean, anyone? What is take two? Just a minute. Yeah. Correct, Nitin. Okay. So take two is basically, starting to like something. So you're not deciding to start to like something. You've decided to try your hands at. Once you try your hands at, that's when you start to like something. So take two is to start to like something. Okay, the answer is going to be A. Question number 21. Now मैं आपको एक तरीका सिखाती हूं यहां करेक्ट आंसर ढूंढने का. Sheep is a bundle of papers. Okay, always make a sentence. इस ब्लैंक में इस क्वेश्चन को फिट करो. Sheep is a group of papers. Troop is a group of dancers. सेम सेंटेंस में जो फिट होता है वो आपका आंसर होगा. आंसर ए है. Grain is not a group of bundle, it's the other way around. Bundle is a group of grains. हो सकता है. Band is a group of thieves. No. Group of thieves के लिए हम क्या यूज करते हैं? Which collective noun do we use for a group of thieves? A pack. So a pack is a group of thieves. Singers is not a group of choir. A choir is a group of singers. This is also the other way around. like B. So our answer has to be an absolute A. Do not be confused. Make a sentence, same sentence में fit करो अपने बाकी options, you will find your answer. Okay? So that's 21. Let's look at 22. देख के डर लगा इसको क्वेश्चन को, इतना लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन था. But before this, have you liked this session? If you haven't done that, do it right away. Please share it with everyone else as well. We've got really good questions that we are doing here. So the answer here is C. This is incorrect. This effort is singular. It has to be followed by singular verb, has been. This effort has been driven by surging e-commerce demand. The question is from a subject and verb agreement. Every other question is absolutely correct. 23. गलत कौन सा क्वेश्चन है और इंटेरोगेटिव. सो बेसिकली ये आपका नॉलेज ऑफ क्वेश्चन टैग्स यूज कर रहा है. Which question is an incorrectly framed question? What did you mark here? What did you mark here? What's the correct sentence here? मतलब incorrect को correct करके बताओ मुझे. What should have been the correct sentence? Let me see if you can do that. Can you rectify the sentence, the incorrect one? Kinza, answer is D. Correct karo isko. Yes, Karthik, it's D. C is absolutely correct. D ko rectify karo. Who's going to rectify D for me? Yes, D is the wrong question. Can you rectify this, Vibhu? Navya says how he did. How he did that trick. Okay. Okay. How did he do that trick? Yes, Vibhu, exactly. How does he do? No. How did he do? How did he do that trick is going to be the correct question tag. Question number 24. Russia is now making, this is tricky. Russia is now making many of the same mistakes as in its earlier military failure. हो सकता है. As it did in its earlier military failure, ये भी हो सकता है. Like its earlier failure, ये भी हो सकता है. सबसे पहले तो difference देखो between as and like. Okay? Like होता है जब comparison होते हैं. I'm like my mother. My daughter is like me. My daughter is as me तो नहीं बोलेंगे. ठीक है. So जब आप people को compare करते हो, उनकी characteristics compare करते हो, आप like use करते हो. यहाँ situation के बारे में है और एक analogy draw हुई है. We cannot use a like. So C is eliminated. Now, always remember the entire sentence. This is one sentence. The tense has to be consistent in the entire sentence. So, that is, if it is now making many of the same mistakes, जो पहले करी थी, so it had done नहीं होगा, past perfect नहीं लगाओगे. You need a consistency in the tense. It has to be as it did. You cannot use a past perfect tense. Past perfect tense सिर्फ तब use होता है जब दो actions होते हैं. उनमें से भी पहला action. So this is going to be wrong. It's going to be as it did in its earlier military failures. Yes, the answer is going to be a B. Correct. The answer is B. Okay? Yeah, that's B. Correct. Got it? That's B. Okay? Remember tenses ka class? Last question for the class. Punctuation. Easiest of all the questions. School में सीखा था अगर कोई person कुछ बोलता है तो inverted comma आता है. Only and only one person. आप directly quote कर रहे हो किसी को. I see you have arrived. Directly quote कर रहे हो उस person को. That नहीं लगा है. So direct speech है. Indirect में that लगाते. Direct speech है तो inverted comma लगना जरूरी है. Only and only one option has that. And that is my child option number A. So that's what our correct answer here is going to be. The answer is an A. We will discuss the rest of the questions 26 to 50 in the next session. If you're targeting CLAT 2023, rush up, don't be late. A new batch has been recently launched. जल्दी से enroll कर लो, time आपके पास नहीं है. Combos भी हैं आपके पास. आप CLAT 23 comprehensive combo course भी join कर सकते हो, where you will prepare for CLAT plus other law entrance examinations like AILET, MSCET, SLAT, BLAT, JAMIA as well. You can also prepare for the non-CLAT classes after CLAT 23 is held. So we will prepare you for the other non-CLAT examinations as well, जो कि May में होने वाले हैं. You'll get a total number of 200 plus sessions. The course ends on 20th of Feb 2023. So that's all for today, everyone. Thank you so much. I shall see you again at 10 a.m. tomorrow with the Hindu classes. Have a very good night. God bless all of you. Next session, Vibhu, it should be day after tomorrow. Good night.